Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. I'm going to do a review today on the Titan 9,000 pound asymmetrical lift. Now you can convert this to a regular symmetrical lift just by ordering the longer ones for the other side, which I think I will do, but at some point just for the bigger stuff. It kind of makes it setting up a little bit easier so you can reach better, but I've moved it one time. I had it at another shop. I've had it since 2019, and for the most part, it's been pretty good. I haven't really had any real issues with it. Uh, this cable here is temporarily spliced right there with a wire. That's just for the lock to move this up, because after time on the other side here, those tend to fray a little bit. This is like 1/16 cable. They tend to fray a little bit, and then it loosens up, and then because when it frays it gets a little longer, and then when you pull, the other side always works right, but this side does not move all the way up like it should, and it doesn't unlock. But that took up until this year, so 4 years for me to have to do that. So I'm going to get another cable. This was just, I had to finish a job, so that's just a temp fix I did. I have had the TRX on this thing, my other 1500. I'd never put the Power Wagon on it. Pretty much any car that I need to put on there, even this little right here was on there, was a project with putting disc brake conversion and some new steering parts, steering shaft, stuff like that. That one I had to have perfectly centered in order to get it on here because this such a short wheelbase. But I haven't had any. It just requires 4 inches of concrete minimum, which this floor has. The setup is pretty easy. At the other place, it was the first time we ever put it up, and what I did was when I moved it here, I measured everything on the floor, all the distances, and matched it here so that it was a pretty quick swap to bring it here. I had it up in just a couple hours when I moved it. It doesn't take long at all. You got to drill total of 10 holes, put quick bolts in there, and they're 3/4 inch. And then I guess the trickiest part, or whatever you want to call it, is putting that up. This does require a higher ceiling, which obviously I have no problem with that. And sometimes I do wish I moved it over more towards the middle, maybe not all the way, just a few feet more, just to give me more space on this side. But I really don't have any problems working on it over here. Somebody made fun about getting the axles out, but hey, if I had to, I could open that window. But no, it's not. I totally can get axles out with it being this close to the wall. I guess the worst part's getting it in here, because right now, until I move around, I have that there, so I have to come in at an angle and then drive up in here. But that has nothing to do with the function of this lift. But it takes standard hydraulic oil. It's 220. Yes, that wiring is semi-permanent / temporary. That was the wiring that worked at my other barn, and it just happened to be the length to reach, and then I hooked it up and then got back to it. So one day I'll get to it. I want to add outlets back here. I'll change that. But performance of this lift's been perfectly fine. I don't think I'd put 9,000 pounds on it just because, but the TRX is 7, at least 7, and it just picks it up fine. It's just when you're lifting something so massive in the air, it just seems sketchy. But I never had an issue. And always I always set these as soon as, especially on the Mustangs, not so much all the time, but on the heavier items that I put on it, I have 4 of these, so I just set them up. So once I get the car up, I set the car on this, and I crank them up. I take probably 50% of the weight and put them on these jacks, so that way you got the lift arms and those holding it, and it's rock solid. Because a lot of times you start working on shit and you're not paying attention to the force you're doing, and you could have an issue. So I just do that, and especially with the big stuff, I would never even go under it without putting these things to stabilize it. So, but for I'd say 4,000 pounds and lighter, it's pretty in your mind fine. But when you put the heavier stuff on there, I just like to use this stuff. But I use it for everything. No, if I'm going to shake the car at all, if it's just an oil change, maybe not. But on the trucks, I would still. But on the cars, I could just put it up and not worry about it. Or with the cars, I might just set one up front, one in the back, just to keep it just a little more stable. If I do some heavier duty work, yes, I use those jack stands. But this thing has been a lifesaver, or whatever you want to call it, because I can't imagine having to work on the ground all the time like I was doing before. And even now, if I do something on the ground because this thing's tied up or whatever, it just sucks. You get so used to being able to stand up and do it, or even push the tool cart underneath. They do make one like this where the hoses and everything go on the floor. There's a floor plate. It gives you a little more clearance up top. But I like this because you got that piece that goes across. It gives you more stability for the top to not want to come in on you. I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying that it's just an extra reinforcement with that on the top. At the time, 2019, this thing was $2,000. So it was I was like, for $2,000, this thing was like, why didn't I buy this a long time ago? They do cost a little more now, I think, just because everything does, as everybody knows. But it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. It's got a lot of miles on it. So if you want one of the lesser expensive lifts, and you're doing, like, I'd say light. I mean, I'm sure they got one that I say, to me, 7,000, 7,500 in my head is as much as I'm going to put on here. But if you're looking for something with that weight and below, this thing is awesome for that. It's a decent price. And I just love two-post lifts because of the access you have under the car. You can pretty much do anything you want to do. I may, on the other side, I may put a 4-post on that side, so a drive-on. And that will be for if I do have stuff on trucks that are heavy duty or whatever, that I want the 4-post. It's just a better setup for heavier stuff. But I do plan on storing this boat on it, so I can get the middle plate that comes across to put the front wheel on it, so I can lift the whole boat up. But besides that, yeah, this lift is very, very good. It's been very good, and I would recommend it if you're looking for something that's not crazy expensive and it will do the job. So I hope this helps anybody that's looking for possibly putting in a lift in their barn or whatever. This could maybe go in a garage, but you have to have a pretty high ceiling. I think that thing goes up 12 or 13 feet. So there's that. So please hit that like and subscribe button, and we will catch you on the next one.